Spending time outdoors and enjoying nature's bounty can be great for the human spirit, but you may be surprised to find out it's also very good for Arizona's bottom line.
Wildlife viewing recreation is a large and growing activity that goes on in Arizona, and as more and more people start to watch wildlife, the Game and Fish Department has to look at the human dimension of that activity. And the folks, as they come in to watch wildlife, also spend a lot of money, and so it's an economic benefit for communities, for businesses, for individuals, and it's large and growing.
And it has been growing quite a bit. A survey conducted in 2006 showed that wildlife viewing recreation generated $78 million in local and state tax dollars. Nature tourism in Arizona directly supported more than 11,000 jobs with earnings of $366 million. That, combined with the $840 million spent on wildlife watching, comes to a total economic impact of over more than $1 billion.
What you have is people coming in to either into the state or residents that go out, and the lodging and the travel that occurs. So you're going to have jobs occurring there. Thousands of jobs are related to it. You'll have your manufacturers. It's a sort of a feedback loop, or certainly a domino effect. If someone comes into a store and buys something, that money goes to that store owner, but then that store owner has to reimburse their inventory, and so that backs up to the manufacturer who gets new orders. That manufacturer is going to need employees to make that whatever was bought, and the store owner needs to have employees and things like that. So again, it's a domino effect that builds on as people come into the state to, or like I said, the residents come in and spend money.
As a segment of the broader tourist industry, nature tourism got going in the early 80s. Put simply, it is tourism based on the natural attractions of an area. Wildlife viewing recreation is one kind of nature tourism, such as bird and wildlife viewing, outdoor photography, wildlife nature festivals, wildlife tours, and visits to parks and wildlife areas. Nationally, watching wildlife is one of the fastest growing segments of the tourism industry.
The Watch Wildlife program that the Game and Fish Department runs is a statewide administrative unit, and what we do is assist communities in getting into the business of developing destination points for people to come in and watch wildlife. And so we assist with the startup of assessing their area for the opportunities that might be there, and really let them know that there is an economic benefit in that resource.
Well, we have field trips, of course. That's the main event. We take people in vans. We like the vans because it's close and personal. We don't like to put them up on buses, and we take them out to some of our extremely wonderful birding areas that we have here in the Verde Valley.
The Birdie Verde Nature Festival near Cottonwood is in its 10th year and is one venue that draws people who want to view wildlife, especially birds. The 4-day festival is a staple of the Verde Valley. It's held every April and caters to a wide variety of nature lovers.
I saw 2 or 3, I thought,
but I mean, this is it.
Do you think
See,
that's
look
it?
at that. See,
it's a juvenile.
That's juvenile.
Here's an adult.
I saw 2 white vans in the tail.
Go with an experienced birder. He takes the people out onto the trails or whatever the site is, pointing out the birds to them as they go along. When they get back, we bring them back here to the site at Dead Horse Ranch State Park, and they add their birds that they've seen on their hike or on their visit to our main list. And we got a large list of birds already in the first day of the trip.
The festival also includes the Birdie Bazaar, where patrons can get valuable information on birding locations and can purchase all sorts of wildlife paraphernalia, everything from binoculars to bird feeders. They also design their outings to accommodate all level of physical ability, from the most ardent hikers to those who like to take a more relaxed approach.
We have the perfect trip for you. We call it our armchair birding. We have an accessible trail right here at Dead Horse Ranch State Park that takes us to a spot where we feed birders at a regular basis. And so the birders kind of flock there, excuse the pun. And people can then sit in, we have nice little chairs for them to sit in. And a birder, of course, is sitting there that can point out and name those birds for you. Because that's usually the secret to becoming a good birder, is to learn how to identify. And that's what these people are doing. But you don't have to walk very far. You can just sit there and let the birds come to you. We also have very extreme trips where you can do a lot of hiking, get into some rugged country. And again, it's getting outdoors, it's getting into nature at all different levels. People can do it, like I said, very strenuous, they can take it easy. And that's why another reason it's popular. You can hit it at your own level.
Part of the Game and Fish Watchable Wildlife Project supports community-based nature festival tourism efforts. These activities are not only fun and educational, but also bring economic development to communities, develop regional pride, highlight the value of wildlife conservation and nature tourism, and encourage community and regional partnerships.
It has not only the economic portion of it, but also the people that come in start to become better stewards for the resource, and so support some of the conservation efforts that go on in Arizona, and certainly some of the conservation efforts that the department is involved in. And one of the things that the program also does is teach people to be a responsible wildlife viewer, because a lot of times people think, well, all I'm doing is going out and walking along a trail and using my binoculars to watch something. But what we talk about is the cumulative effect of the people who were there before, the people who are there now, and certainly the people that are going to be coming. And obviously the job of the department is to have sustainable wildlife viewing. And if it's not done responsibly, then not only will the habitat be degraded, but the animals themselves will become spooked and not come back to that particular area that might be a good site for watching. So a big part of the program is to educate the public on how to do it responsibly so that it increases their positive wildlife viewing experience, but also for other people that are out there, whether maybe someone's a photographer is out there already, or a family, or just other people. A couple of things that come to mind when you talk to people about what kind of experience that they have, they're going to talk about crowding, and they're going to talk about the ill-informed people that don't know about being a responsible wildlife viewer, and so that wrecks their experience. And so we're really big on trying to let the more people know how to be a responsible viewer, then they can be good stewards in the wildlife viewing world.
And what is the mistake made most often by people who want to watch wildlife?
I think it would be to try to get closer to the animal. They don't recognize the signs that the animal is showing that they're disturbed in some way. It could be anything from, in the mammal's case, most animals will just get up and leave. Some of them you can notice will look toward you, and that just means that they're aware that you're there and you're disturbing them a little bit. In the case of a mammal, their ears will start to perk up to see where is that disturbance coming from. And then birds will circle an area repeatedly, especially if you're around a nest. They might even dive bomb you. Everyone's pretty familiar, I think, with the mockingbird dive bombing around the nest. Those kinds of signs that you're too close, or the animal is pretty much done, you've overstayed your welcome. And that's something that people need to recognize too, is just the amount of disturbance, to learn those signs that animals are give. Sometimes they'll mock charge or something in the case of some animals, where they'll hoof and they'll woof woof, and they'll stomp down on the ground, and that just means that you've either overstayed your welcome, or they're concerned about how close you're getting. Little things like if a big group comes in to watch some animals, you want to get the best seat in the house, so it tends to start to circle the animal. And whether it's a domestic dog or a wild animal, they get the feeling of being cornered, and it could escalate the situation. So it's just a matter of knowing, again, that responsible wildlife viewing, of not getting in the face of the wildlife, even though you don't think it is. And that's why it's so important to use binoculars and get comfortable with binoculars and spotting scopes, because you're much closer than you could get physically by watching at a distance, and the animal is safer, and you quite often are as well.
You're going to see a lot of retired people who have the time to go out and do that, and like I say, to do those that traveling. But we have birders here at this event. We were talking just the other day with our keynote speaker, and we asked him what's the average age of children when they start getting involved in birding, and they said, well, boy, about 8 years old. And we have a young man here who's about between 8 and 10. That's when their interest in nature and birds really kind of gets them started on that lifelong hobby. And then we have girls who are a little bit older when they get into it. They're usually around 10 or 12. But that's where they start, is at children. And so we have things for children and people from all ages going on up, like I said, to the retired people. We have one lady here who's a birder who's in her 90s. So it's for all ages.
Which takes us back to where the story began. The best reason to watch wildlife is not because of the money we may spend, but because of the quality of how we choose to spend our time.
Right, it's a relief mechanism for the stresses of living an urban life, of trying to work to make a buck kind of thing, and then you can just go out and take in the great outdoors, and watching wildlife is a great thing to be able to do while you're out there.
Well, my personal feeling on that is that we are not separate from nature. We are nature. We are part of nature. And people have gotten away from that. We've separated and isolated ourselves from who we are. And so to get back to nature, if you want to say that, is really getting back to where we should be in the first place. We're all part of that circle of life.